if your opponent is just playing a miscreant, then cool, enjoy your
Right, it's a 1/5 for
yeah.
now.
Well, let's kick it off now as we go into game number 1. I see a backstab and a Van Cleef. Always a nice combo to have in your opening hand, but Language Hacker, is SamuelTsao going to keep that?
I'd be surprised if he kept the Edwin with the since he has the backstab in the raiding party. That's kind of just what you want when you're on the play. You need someone to activate the raiding party or the miscreant, and having the raiding party and the backstab already, you probably keep that for sure. He can consider whether or not he wants to keep the Edwin, but I don't think it kind of fits in with the rest of the cards he has. If he was on coin and he had an extra card to work with, perhaps we'd see him keep it. But I'm expecting only a 2-card keep from Sam.
Yeah, I guess if the coin's there, then even if it's at worst, you could like coin backstab or backstab coin Edwin, right? You know, at worst. We did decide to throw it away in the end, and there is a Myra's he's got as an answer. So not too shabby at all. And now the ooh going out from Language Hacker, I'm guessing.
Well, the miscreant draw means that SamuelTsao now has to decide if he wants to spend his the backstab activator for raiding party or miscreant, if he's even offered a backstab target. blitzchung could very well just not play anything, which denies SamuelTsao the ability to combo on the turn 3.
blitzchung does have himself not the most terrible opening hand. The coin is always nice as rogue, of course, but the Hench Clan Thug, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be pretty nice just if you can get that rolling pretty quick.
Yeah, kind of what we were talking about. If you don't have the raiding party, waggle pick, or like miscreant, just dagger on 2 into Hench Clan on 3 is a good start. And when you're on the play, it means that without an activator, you also have just something proactive to put onto the board instead of just an SI7 agent.
Yeah, it kind of just forces them to have it, right? And if they don't, you do so much damage that you can almost play so aggressive from that point that you can ignore some of the sort of board development that your opponent will do sometimes. Just going to be the dagger up from SamuelTsao. Not much else he can actually do here.
Taking his time to consider if he wants to swing or not.
Yeah. What are the benefits of even swinging now?
If you plan on having a waggle pick on turn 4, you'd be swinging on turn 2 and turn 3, and then on turn 4 you could quit the waggle pick. Or if you're expecting to re-dagger on turn 3, you could go swing on 2, swing again on 3, and then re-dagger to have a fresh 1-2 weapon. I think from Sam's perspective, he realizes he's probably not going to have a waggle pick, so getting the extra punch in on turn 2 means he can swing and re-dagger on turn 3 now, because it's unlikely he's going to play out the miscreant just as is. Okay. He could also choose to play raiding party without the activator, just to draw the 2 pirates, get some more gas.
Especially with Deadly Poison, it might make it a little bit easier to get those Corsairs off as well, right?
Yep.
It does mean it can help out a little bit. The only weird thing I feel is I always struggle to when to attack dagger, or attack with the dagger, should I say. And here it makes me... I feel like SamuelTsao might feel like he's just forced to try and get this raiding party to go and then forced to quit the waggle pick. Because if he'd held it, then maybe not this turn, but next turn, then like Deadly Poison with a miscreant could be pretty sweet. So he might actually just swing and re-dagger and try and do something like that next turn.
Yeah, set up for Deadly Poison and then either a raiding party or miscreant. This is one of the problems that we've been seeing rogues have when they're not on the coin. It's difficult to activate these combo cards, and you're left with these kind of awkward situations where you're not doing a whole lot on turn 3, and this is why in some lists we've seen people put in wisps just for the instances like this, and it also helps, dumping your hand for Myra's. Looks like that's what SamuelTsao is going to do, just re-dagger, set up for a possible turn 4. blitzchung developing the Hench Clan. Swinging face, powering it up.
Does that have a way to kill it now?
Yep. The backstab and delay poison, it will allow him to kill it.
And still get that miscreant, all the raiding party down. Actually, I think I'd lean towards the raiding party, to be completely honest.
blitzchung is running 2 weapon removal cards, 1 Bloodsteel Courser and 1 Acidic Swamp Ooze, so SamuelTsao might be considering whether he wants to, like Raven suggested, get the pirates and the weapon out, or try to develop something else instead.
I guess this way around you have the proc for the raiding party anyway, and you couldn't equip the pick the next turn regardless. So I guess this way is actually fine. Puts a 1/5 on the board.
I've noticed a lot of players actually foregoing equipping the waggle pick immediately and just kind of saying, all right, can I do something else that's also still pretty good right now?
Right.
Because if I develop the waggle pick and they do have the weapon removal, I'm now kind of stuck here thinking, okay, now how do I weasel around this? But if you have something else developed before you equip the waggle pick, you kind of set yourself up in a state where if they do have some sort of weapon removal, you're still fine because you already had something on board.
Yeah, one of the problems is when you equip the waggle pick and you know there's weapon removal, you have the weird problem of, I need to swing this, but if I swing it, it makes my next swing worse.
Right.
Because the death rattle.
It has to.
But if I don't swing it, it might just be destroyed. And even swinging it, do I need just a random 4 damage to face right now when the mirror is so heavily focused on tempo? You might need it to kill a second Henge Clan Thug, for example.
So SamuelTsao should also have noticed that blitzchung, I mean, he obviously had a great play with the Henge Clan, just playing it out. But would Henge Clan have been better than Coin Raiding Party or Coin Miscreant from blitzchung's side? If SamuelTsao thinks that the coin into one of those 3-mana cards would have been better, then he can probably make a read that that's not there, which means there might be not a lot of resource generation for blitzchung. So if he goes for the lackey generation here, it might be more beneficial for him this game. blitzchung removing the miscreant.
Yeah, and a small note as well is that these players are allowed to actually play with Deck Tracker. So it means that, SamuelTsao will know that Leroy has been in hand from the start. He'll know that, or at least the card on the far left, sorry, it will be in hand from the start and so on. So he can keep track of the coin, he can keep track of how many cards have been held. Obviously, both players can do this, so it is fair. But it just means that knowledge and how you use it, it's more about how the players use the knowledge as opposed to how well they can keep track of the knowledge, right? Or keep track of what's going on. Do see the new cloak get played, but it is just a 3-2. You're not missing much, guys, when it is just summon like that. It's nothing too crazy.
Okay, bringing down the second miscreant here. 3 lackeys now in hand. SamuelTsao is going to decide what he wants to do here. You can rush something in, or you can opt to just discover a spell here. Already have one of those on the left. Alright, Cannon Barrage looks like the pick. No pirates in hand, but SamuelTsao does have the raiding party, so Barrage could come in handy with the prep later on.
Yeah, there can be just raiding party next turn, and then with the weapon potentially making the Corsairs cost 0.
Yeah.
And also, the 1-drop for the weapon removal, it means that you could end up just prepping that out with the weapon, and then just be able to just demolish them. Like
fire the
9
cannons,
damage, minimum.
blitzchung in a bit of a pickle here. We have Leroy, a bunch of spells that don't do a whole lot, and then with a Myra's pickup now he actually can do something, and it looks like that's what he's going to be going for. Realizing that his hand's not doing a whole lot, so let's step on the gas real quick. Let's see what's left in our deck. Trying to get as many cards out of his hand as he can before the Myras, so he can fill his hand. Pretty happy to see an Edwin pop up here. Ooh.
Okay, so it's pretty much just all in now. The second Myras happens outside of scheme decks.
Right.
It's just, this is what I have. This is effectively a puzzle, and I need to be able to solve it right now.
So there is some amount of burst with Leroy and Shadow Step in hand. We have an Eviscerate as well from blitzchung's side.
And even the Deadly Poison is going to stack up with a little bit of extra damage.
So the kind of dynamic of the game has changed. It's no longer about how long can I hold onto the board, can I start pushing an incremental advantage. It's, okay, well blitzchung is very quickly trying to kill SamuelTsao now because fatigue's going to start kicking in and the game needs to end quickly. And SamuelTsao needs to react accordingly and try to figure out how to stop that from happening.
Yeah, there's even a chance now, blitzchung, if blitzchung lives in a world where this Corsair dies, right?
Yep.
He can just Leroy go swing, bounce the Leroy, and then Leroy Shadow Step Leroy the turn after.
Yep, 18 damage.
Which is perfect, right? It's kind of nuts, but like you said, it's all about how SamuelTsao chooses to deal with what's left, because he only has X amount of things to deal with, which is effectively blitzchung's hand size to a certain extent.
Right.
And if you can do that, he wins. That's literally how Myra's works. Like, if you can get rid of every card or deal with every threatening card in your opponent's hand, you win the game. If you can't, you lose the game.
SamuelTsao started off with a preparation raiding party and trying to find the Bloodsail Corsair he has in his deck. He did find it, managed to deal with the Waggle Pig, which also bounces back the Dread Corsair, pushing as much of an advantage as he can on board to try and end the game before blitzchung can kill him. That's not quite what you want to be seeing coming out of the Witchy Lackey here. Summoning Portal does make all his minions cheaper, but it doesn't actually have any power. So blitzchung going for the Leroy Shadow Step to set up for Leroy Eviscerate. Is that even enough? 3, 4, 5. With a dagger that's only 11? Am I missing something? This sets him as one off. If he had one more mana, he could dagger and deadly next turn, but he doesn't quite have the mana. Yeah,
I think his plan is to dagger maybe Ziliax next turn and use that bridge, because he needed a bridge turn, right? Like the mana doesn't add up. Like he couldn't have dagger deadly poisoned and then done that turn last turn, right?
Right.
So I think he needed a bridge turn, and I guess he's going for it next turn if he can just Ziliax, or maybe he just plays Ziliax and Dread Corsair.
I think if SamuelTsao had a Dread Corsair... Wait, actually, did he play Dread Corsair last turn? I don't believe he did. He drew Greenskin and Bloodseal Corsair. So I believe if SamuelTsao had a Dread Corsair, he would have played it last turn, just as a defensive option. I think would have liked to see from blitzchung's side here some other play. Actually, no, because he can't even go Leroy Step next turn because that costs 8 mana. So I think he had to go in on Leroy now, even if it wasn't enough.
There's also a small note as well that creating these Dragonlings actually reduces the board size, or reduces the ability to add to the board a lot outside of Shadow Steps, which we see from the weapon and from the Shadow Step we now see in the hand. So there was an idea that maybe you can't add that much to the board, which means these minions are relatively weak, so they can't get through Ziliax that well. And this is a sick play though, because Ziliax with the shield means that blitzchung won't be able to heal without having to tank it or use an Eviscerate.
There was one copy of Sap, but I believe blitzchung already used it on the Myra's turn, so SamuelTsao knows that this Ziliax won't be dealt with that easily. blitzchung digging for some lackeys to try and get him out of this situation.
Rush, rush.
I don't think that's going to do it.
Not without a prep, and SamuelTsao takes the win. blitzchung did set up for, you know, a potential high level of burst and just take him from 18, but SamuelTsao managed to remove the